Most people don't lose in life because they're weak. They lose because they wake up with no plan, no principles, and no power. If you want to change your life, change your daily routine, because the person you become tomorrow is hiding inside the choices you make today. Winning the morning is not just a habit. It is the foundation that determines the outcome of your entire day. Most people wake up and immediately hand over their power to the world. They reach for the phone before they reach for their purpose. They check notifications before checking in with themselves. And when you start your day reacting to everything around you, you lose before you even begin. The power of winning the morning is the power of choosing intention over reaction, direction over distraction, clarity over chaos, and purpose over pressure. When you master your morning, you become the type of person who walks into the day already 10 steps ahead of everyone else. Here's the truth. The first moments of your day set the tone for the next 24 hours. The mindset you wake up with becomes the momentum you carry. When you open your eyes and immediately focus on gratitude, purpose, and clarity, you activate your potential. But when you start your day with stress, noise, and distraction, you activate your problems. The simple decision to command your morning is the difference between living by design and living by default. One leads to power, the other leads to frustration. Most people underestimate their mornings because they underestimate themselves. They believe the day controls them, the responsibilities control them, the deadlines control them. But winners understand that life doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to structure. When you take charge of your first hour, you take charge of your life. When you begin your morning with silence, reflection, spiritual grounding, or intentional thought, you build inner strength before the world tests it. That's not just discipline, that's strategy. And here's the hook. You can change your entire life without changing your entire day. All you must change is the first part of it. 1 hour of excellence can override 15 hours of chaos. 1 hour of clarity can overpower 15 hours of confusion. Because once you start strong, your mind refuses to let the rest of the day fall apart. Momentum works both ways. Chaos multiplies, but so does clarity. You decide which one your morning creates. Imagine waking up with purpose instead of pressure. Imagine beginning your day knowing where you're going instead of wondering why everything feels overwhelming. Imagine starting your morning with a mindset that says, I lead my life, I don't follow it. That small shift creates confidence, direction, and certainty. The three ingredients that winners live on. Winning the morning is not about waking up earlier. It's about waking up with intention. It's about not allowing external voices to speak into your day before your own voice does. It's about feeding your mind before feeding your schedule. When you give your morning to wisdom, discipline, purpose, and gratitude, you strengthen the part of you that has to make decisions, solve problems, lead others, and overcome setbacks throughout the day. You can't lead a powerful life with an unprepared mind. You can't expect excellence to come out of a rushed, noisy, distracted morning. You can't win the day when you start by losing yourself. When you choose to command your morning, you choose to command your life. It's that simple. And here's the ultimate hook. The morning doesn't make you successful. You make the morning successful. The rituals, the mindset, the focus, the grounding, the clarity, the spiritual alignment, those are the levers that turn ordinary days into winning days and winning days into a winning life. When you win the morning, you give yourself permission to become unstoppable for the rest of the day. Doing the hard thing first is one of the greatest advantages a person can give themselves. Most people spend their entire day avoiding the very task that would change everything for them. They dance around it, delay it, distract themselves from it, and then wonder why their life never moves forward. The truth is simple. The uncomfortable is the gateway to the extraordinary. The thing you keep postponing is usually the thing that holds your breakthrough. And here's the hook. The moment you train yourself to tackle the hardest task first, you immediately separate yourself from 95% of the world. Every day presents you with a crossroads. Do you choose what is easy, or do you choose what is essential? The easy will make you feel good for the moment, but the essential will make you great for a lifetime. Most people are trapped in a cycle of reacting to low-value tasks, thinking they're being productive because they're busy. But business is not progress, and comfort is not growth. The hard thing is the thing that matters. And winners understand that the faster they get to it, the faster their life expands. Doing the hard thing first builds a type of internal strength that becomes impossible to fake. It tells your mind, I lead you. You don't lead me. It reinforces discipline, confidence, and momentum. Once you overcome the biggest challenge of your day before noon, everything that comes afterward feels lighter, easier, and more manageable. The hard thing becomes the anchor that stabilizes your entire day. Instead of your challenges controlling you, you start controlling them. There is a psychological power behind attacking difficult tasks early. In the morning, your mind is clearer, your decision fatigue hasn't kicked in, and your willpower is at its highest. When you dedicate that prime energy to high-impact actions, you get results that compound. But when you waste those hours on scrolling small errands or work that produces no real growth, you start the day behind. The hook is this: your morning energy is the most valuable currency you have, and if you spend it on comfort, you will go broke in purpose. People often say they are waiting for motivation to tackle hard things, but motivation is unreliable. Motivation appears when it feels like it. Discipline appears when you call it. The act of doing the hard thing first creates its own motivation. Action produces energy, not the other way around. When you confront what intimidates you, you shrink the power of fear. You don't overcome fear by avoiding it. You overcome it by meeting it head on and proving it wrong. Doing the hard thing first also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on something difficult, you increase your belief in your own ability. Self-trust is the foundation of success. People don't experience breakthroughs because they don't believe they can. And they don't believe they can because they've broken too many promises to themselves. But when you consistently show up for yourself, especially in the hard moments, you rebuild that identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids challenges and start seeing yourself as someone who devours them. Think about how your life changes when the single hardest task of your day is already behind you. Stress decreases. Confidence increases. Anxiety dissolves. Momentum builds. Instead of carrying dread into the afternoon, you carry pride. Instead of wondering when you'll get to the hard thing, you get to ask, what else can I accomplish today? That shift alone transforms your entire outlook. And here's the final hook. Doing the hard thing first is not about discipline. It's about destiny. Your future self is shaped by the choices your current self is willing to make. Every time you choose challenge over comfort, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. And the person who repeatedly tackles the hardest tasks becomes a person who wins, not occasionally, but consistently. Protecting your focus is one of the most powerful skills you can master, because your focus is the steering wheel of your life. Whatever you consistently give your attention to becomes the direction your life moves in. Most people don't lose because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They lose because their focus is scattered across 1,000 meaningless things that pull them away from what actually matters. And here's the hook. Distractions don't just steal your time, they steal your destiny. Every moment you give to something that doesn't grow you, improve you, or move you forward is a moment taken from the future you're trying to build. In today's world, everyone wants access to your mind, your phone, your notifications, your social media, your environment, even the people around you who constantly need your attention. If you don't protect your focus, everything around you will consume it. It's not that people are unproductive, it's that they're unfocused. They're mentally exhausted not because they worked too hard, but because their attention was constantly interrupted. The human mind was designed to create, to solve, to build, to think deeply, but it cannot do that when it's being hijacked every few minutes. Your focus is your power. What you concentrate on expands. When you focus on problems, your problems grow. When you focus on fear, fear multiplies. But when you focus on purpose, purpose becomes unstoppable. Protecting your focus means deciding what deserves your mind and what doesn't. It means eliminating anything that causes mental leakage, the drains that quietly rob you of energy, confidence, and clarity. A distracted mind can never produce a powerful life. One of the greatest hooks is this: every distraction is disguised as something harmless. It looks like a quick message, a simple scroll, a small conversation, a harmless notification. But those little moments are costing you big opportunities. Success often hides behind long periods of uninterrupted focus, while failure hides behind short bursts of attention that lead nowhere. People chase motivation, but refuse to eliminate distraction. You don't need more inspiration, you need fewer interruptions. When you protect your focus, you protect your future, because focus creates momentum, and momentum creates mastery. The people who excel in life are not always the smartest. They're the most focused. They know how to lock their mind into a task and stay with it long enough to create something meaningful. They're not easily moved by noise. They're not easily pulled off course. They understand that their attention is a currency, and they spend it where it pays them back. Protecting your focus also means protecting your environment. The wrong environment will pull you away from your purpose before you even realize what happened. People who constantly bring drama, negativity, chaos, or gossip don't just waste your time, they weaken your focus. And the hook is this: you cannot live a focused life surrounded by unfocused people. Your environment either strengthens your clarity or suffocates it. You must also protect your focus from your own habits. Procrastination, multitasking, and constant stimulation break your concentration into fragments. Your mind was never designed to switch between tasks every few seconds. It drains your mental energy and erodes your productivity. The more you multitask, the more mistakes you make, and the slower you move. You must train your mind to go deep, to stay present, to commit fully to one thing at a time. Imagine what your life would look like if you guarded your focus as fiercely as you guard your phone or your money. Imagine pouring consistent, undivided attention into your goals, your growth, your craft, your calling. Imagine removing the noise long enough to hear your own potential clearly. You would start creating at a level you didn't know you were capable of. You would become sharper, stronger, and more effective, because clarity produces confidence, and confidence accelerates progress. Here's the final hook. You cannot have a powerful mind if you live a distracted life. Every great achievement begins with a focused moment. Every breakthrough starts with concentrated effort. When you protect your focus, you reclaim your power. And once your mind is fully aligned, nothing in this world can stop you. Keeping promises to yourself is the deepest form of personal integrity, and it shapes every part of your identity. Most people think success starts with talent or opportunity, but it actually starts with self-trust. If you cannot rely on your own word, you cannot rely on your own potential. And here's the hook. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you don't just lose progress, you lose belief. You teach your mind that your words carry no weight. But every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through, someone who can be counted on, someone who is capable of greatness. People fail not because they aim too high, but because they commit too little. They say they will wake up early, but hit the snooze button. They say they will start the project, but open their phone instead. They say they will change their life, but keep repeating yesterday. Those broken promises stack up, quietly shaping a mindset that whispers, "You're not capable." It's not the task that defeats them. It's the identity they build through inconsistency. But the moment you start honoring your own commitments, everything shifts, your confidence rises, your discipline strengthens, and your self-respect becomes unshakable. Keeping promises to yourself is powerful because it creates an internal contract between who you are now and who you are becoming. When you say, "I will," and you do, you create alignment between intention and action. That alignment builds momentum. Momentum builds transformation. And transformation builds a life you are proud of. But when intention and action constantly contradict each other, inner conflict grows. You know you want more, but you aren't living in a way that proves it. That gap doesn't just slow you down, it blocks your growth completely. Here's a hook most people never realize: your brain is always watching you. It pays attention to how you respond to difficulty, temptation, and commitment. When you say you'll do something hard and then you do it, your brain upgrades your identity. It sees you as someone capable of handling more. But when you quit, avoid, or delay, your brain downgrades your belief in yourself. Your identity becomes built on excuses rather than execution. And identity always beats intention. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits, especially the habits tied to self, promise. Keeping promises to yourself is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about small, steady commitments that stack into self-mastery. It may be reading 10 minutes a day, drinking more water, finishing one meaningful task, or speaking more kindly to yourself. These aren't just habits. They are proof. Proof that you can trust your own leadership. Proof that you can count on yourself. Proof that you are becoming the person you say you want to be. Once you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Another hook. The reason most people respect others more than they respect themselves is because they keep promises to others while constantly breaking the ones made to themselves. They fear disappointing others, but tolerate disappointing themselves. That creates a life where external approval replaces internal alignment. You cannot build a strong life on a weak foundation of self-abandonment. The moment you begin honoring your own word, your confidence becomes internal, not borrowed. Keeping promises to yourself also builds emotional stability. When you follow through, you create structure. When you create structure, you reduce anxiety. When you reduce anxiety, you think clearly. When you think clearly, you make better decisions. It's not discipline for discipline's sake. It's discipline that leads to peace. Most chaos exists because people live without commitment. They drift, they react, they hope. But hope without habits leads nowhere. Imagine the life you would create if your mind fully trusted you. Imagine setting a goal and knowing without doubt that you'll follow through. Imagine becoming a person whose actions match their ambition every single day. That level of self-trust is rare, and that's why it's powerful. You don't need permission, motivation, or validation. You need commitment. The version of you that keeps promises is the version of you that wins. And here's the final hook. If you want to change your life, you don't need bigger goals, you need stronger self-respect. And self-respect is built through one thing: honoring your own word. Every promise you keep is a brick in the foundation of your greatness. Speaking power instead of problems is one of the most transformative habits you can develop, because your words don't just describe your life, they shape it. Most people speak from their situation, but winners speak from their revelation. They speak from who they are becoming, not just what they are experiencing. And here's the hook. Every word you speak is either building your future or breaking it. Your mouth is the architect of your mindset, and your mindset is the engine of your destiny. People often underestimate the power of their own voice. They talk about stress, so their stress grows. They talk about fear, so fear multiplies. They speak about limitations and then wonder why their life feels small. But your words are seeds. Where you plant them is where you harvest. If you keep planting doubt, you will keep harvesting discouragement. If you plant negativity, you will harvest uncertainty. But if you plant power, you will harvest strength, clarity, and breakthrough. Speaking power is not about ignoring problems. It's about refusing to give them authority over your life. Your words are spiritual assignments. They set things in motion long before you see results. The mind follows the mouth. When you speak defeat, your mind begins searching for evidence of defeat. When you speak possibility, your mind begins hunting for opportunities. Here's a hook your brain has no choice but to believe the words you feed it. And because your life follows your belief, the fastest way to elevate your life is to elevate your language. Winners know how to speak with intention. They know how to call things forward, not call things out. Speaking power also creates emotional strength. When you declare confidence, your body responds with confidence. When you affirm purpose, your spirit aligns with purpose. When you speak faith, your fear loses its grip. The words you speak become the atmosphere you live in. Some people wonder why they feel heavy, discouraged, or stuck, not realizing they are living inside the environment created by their own language. Change the language, and you change the atmosphere. Change the atmosphere, and you change the outcome. Another hook. Powerful people speak power even when they don't feel powerful. Most people wait to feel confident before they speak confident words. But winners understand that words create feelings. Feelings don't create words. When you choose to speak boldly, even in moments of uncertainty, you elevate your energy, your posture, your decisions, and your performance. Your language gives your future instructions. Speaking power means being intentional with every conversation you have, especially the one you have with yourself. Your internal dialogue is the loudest voice in your life. If that voice is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, your actions will shrink. But if that voice is filled with strength, truth, and possibility, your actions will expand. You cannot make powerful choices with powerless language. You cannot build a strong life with weak words. Your words also influence the people around you. When you speak negativity, you lower the room. When you speak power, you lift it. Leaders understand that their language creates culture. If you want a life, a business, a family, or a dream that grows, you must speak in a way that breathes life into it. Nothing great can grow in an atmosphere of constant complaint. Growth responds to encouragement, clarity, vision, and confidence, all of which are created through powerful speech. Imagine waking up each day and deliberately speaking life into your goals, your health, your finances, your relationships, and your character. Imagine declaring strength even on tough days. Imagine reinforcing your purpose with every sentence. That type of language doesn't just motivate you, it programs your identity. It turns a mindset into momentum, and momentum into mastery. And here's the final hook. Your words are not just sounds, they are blueprints. Every sentence you speak is a vote for the person you want to become. Speak like someone who believes in their calling. Speak like someone who expects to win. Speak like someone whose future is bigger than their past. Because the moment you start speaking power, you stop living small. Winning isn't an accident. It's alignment. It's intention. It's discipline. You don't need a new year, a new month, or a new season to change your life. You just need one day lived with purpose. Win today, and you can win tomorrow. Win enough days, and you become unstoppable. Your life won't change someday, it changes day by day. So decide right now, today I win.